times that I've been sexist myself. Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. Oh, I feel so bad. Not all judges are men. It's horrific. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Hope everyone's having a fabulous Christmas festive season. This week I want to talk about times that I've been sexist myself. So it's funny, I actually did one of these videos like last February or last March, right when I was starting out, so I thought it'll be fun to do another one. I'm only going to give one or two examples, so hopefully this video will be shorter. I'm trying to like make them shorter, but I always end up talking too much. So yeah, let's just try and make it shorter. Let's go! Woo! So I'm gonna get straight in there with one example of when I was a raging sexist. So back when I was 18, a lot of these are from like ages ago because I'm trying less and less to be sexist now, obviously, so they're from back in the day, but it's all about holding yourself account and learning from your past mistakes. So these are just, yeah, times in the past when I have been sexist, so I'm not perfect. So yeah, basically I was 18, I was in my final year of school, and I was looking at obviously what colleges I was going to go to or what course I was going to do, and I was actually meant to go to England and do a course there. And so basically in England you have to like go over and you have to like do an interview for the college there. It's not just as simple as like applying, you have to do like an interview and stuff. So like went over, yeah, like all excited, obviously all nervous, and I went into the room to do my interview, and it was with a man and a woman. And I didn't know now who was who or what position they had or whatever. And they were just asking me questions about like why did I want to do this course, and you know, why would I think I'd be a good fit, and all the usual kind of interview questions. And I realised that I was kind of conscious that like throughout the interview I was kind of talking more to the man, even though I think the woman was actually kind of more in my eye line than the man was, but I ended up talking to him more. Shocking, really, not. And I am so embarrassed still to this day, and it wasn't something I kind of even really thought about until years later when I started becoming really aware of like feminism and sexism and stuff. But like midway through the interview, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. Oh, I feel so bad. Oh my god, I'm actually like cringing. The man obviously noticed that I was talking to him more. Obviously the woman noticed as well because she's probably used to it, but the man obviously noticed that I was talking to him more than I was talking to the woman. And he actually like midway through the interview was like, oh, and like just so you know now, like she's the one with the power, so you could be directing your answers to her. Like obviously like meant it so like in a friendly way, like didn't want to like put me off and make me more nervous. But like looking back, it actually makes me so sad. Like I actually want to cry, I'm not even joking, because like she's probably so used to that. And like I've actually like recently like tried to find out like the name of the woman that it was, but I can't seem to figure it out. It's not like in my emails or anything. I fully want to like email her and be like, I'm so sorry. But like what was worse was that like even after he said that, I still talked to him more. Like, oh my god, like I still, like I was conscious of it because he had pointed it out to me, and I was continuing to direct my answers to him more than I was to her. Like it was horrific. And like what really made me sad was like the fact that he felt the need to be like, oh, she's the one with the power. I'd say it must have been happening to like every person that they met. And like what's so worse is that like I'm a woman and I still was like talking to the man more. Like surely if anything you'd think maybe I'd be more comfortable with the woman, and maybe I'd be not talking to the man more. And that's actually, I told one of my friends this story, and she was like, I'd actually be the opposite. She was like, I'd be talking to the woman more because I'd be more comfortable with her. And I was like, no, I fully was talking to the man because subconsciously I must have thought that he was the one with the power, and just horrific. And like I feel so bad. So yeah, like I wish I could apologize to her, but I can't. It's so sad. So yeah, I'm a raging sexist, everyone, just so you know. Next up is another example from when I was in college. I was doing law, and obviously a lot of our exams and questions and stuff, we'd be writing about like judgments. So like we'd be writing about like judges, and we'd say like, you know, like Judge like Foley or whatever, or Judge O'Sullivan or Judge O'Brien, whatever. And like there are so many judges, and there's so many cases, and it's hard to know like what gender the judge is. But obviously like we obviously had been like doing our Christmas exams or something, and like that January or February when we were back to college, our lecturer had to be like, lads, just so you know, not all judges are men. We were all just like, what? Basically everyone in their exams had just said like he, or like Judge Foley blah 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 said this, he said blah blah blah, and his judgment said this about society, and they all listened to him. Obviously I wasn't, like, I think I did it as well. Obviously we were all just instinctively saying him, like we didn't learn off the gender or the sex of the judge, but we were all just saying him, and like so embarrassed. And like the fact that the lecturer needed to like point that out was just horrific, and like I was cringing, I was so embarrassed. But yeah, it just goes to show. And like even now in general, like I'm still like, I'm such a feminist and I'm so aware of sexism, and even still now I hear doctor, I hear lawyer, I hear judge, and I instinctively think it's a man. And like when someone points out then that it's a woman, I'm like oh shit, I'm like taken aback. I have like a moment, I'm like, oh god, Lauren, like that's so embarrassing. But like it just goes to show how deep it is. Like I'm someone who is so aware, and I still am like automatically think it's a man. It's horrific. And actually something that I wanted to talk about while I was here as well, it's this riddle I have on my phone. It's this riddle. It kind of goes around, and like because of the topic of the video you'll probably be able to guess what the answer to the riddle is, but I'm just gonna say it, and then maybe you can maybe try it out on other people in your daily lives because you have nothing better to do. So the riddle goes: a young boy and his father are on their way home from soccer practice, it's very American, when a distracted driver crosses the centre line, whatever that is, and hits them head on. The father dies at the scene of this horrible car accident, but the boy is still alive when the emergency medical technicians arrive. The injured boy is transported in an ambulance to the hospital, where he's taken immediately into surgery. However, the awaiting surgeon steps out of the operating room and says, "Call Dr. Baker stat to the operating room. I can't operate on this boy, he's my son." And the question is, who is the surgeon? I'm just going to give you a few seconds. I don't know how to like do this on video. I'd love to do this in person and see people's reactions. But basically, like I've heard that riddle, and I've been like, who is the surgeon? I mean, the dad is dead. Who could it be? Oh my goodness. If you haven't already guessed it, the answer is the mom. The mother. The mother is a surgeon. She's a doctor. Who knew women could be doctors? But yeah, basically I'd love to know now if that tricked people, or if you were like, who is it? Because they've done this, they've like done that little kind of test on loads of people, and they did it in America on adults, and they did it on kids, and all the adults were like, who could it be? Who could it be? The kids, in fairness, they weren't necessarily like, oh, it's the mom, but they were more quick to kind of think of other answers. They were like, oh, maybe the kid has two dads, maybe they're gay, you know, maybe it's a stepdad. So there probably was still some kind of gender bias in play, but they didn't just automatically assume that it was just like a straight white male. You know, they thought maybe the dad is gay, or maybe there's like a kind of a different type of family, not just a nuclear family, you know, all these things. So yeah, I implore everyone to try that out on people and see what people say. See if it tricks people. I'd be really interested to know. Yeah, woohoo! Finally, and this is something I still do to this day actually, another example of me being a raging sexist, is when I'm, say, like at a conference, or if I'm in a lecture or something, who knows, and there's this a powerful or successful woman giving a talk, I always look to see, does she have a wedding ring? And the reason I do this is because I think there's like a part of me that's like, I want to know, like, can women have it all, you know, because like I have in front of me, like, this is a powerful, successful woman. She is, you know, strong, and she's so smart, and blah blah. And then I look to see, does she have a wedding ring? And like, more often than not, she doesn't. And then I think a part of me is like, oh, like, not that I'm like, it's sad that she's not married, it's not in that way, but I'm more sad because I'm like, oh, like, can women not have it all? Like, do they have to choose between being like a successful, powerful person, you know, and marriage and having a husband and kids, you know? Obviously some women don't even want that, but like, it's interesting to think. And I think, like, I kind of hate that I do that, even if it's for the right reasons. I kind of hate that I look at women's, you know, wedding finger rings, or wedding ring fingers, because I don't do it with men, you know, I don't. And actually I feel like more often than not, the men who are, say, in powerful positions, they will have a wedding ring on, because being successful and being a powerful man, I think, only makes your chances of marriage better. So it's not surprising that they would have wedding rings on, but for a lot of powerful women, that does affect your chances of marriage, because men could be intimidated by you, or you just simply don't have time because you have to work twice as hard to be considered half as good and all these lovely things. So yeah, I still do that one, and I kind of like, oh, I kind of hate myself. simply because I don't do it with the men. But yeah, again, good to be aware of the things we do, consciously or unconsciously. And again, you know, I just want the point of this video to be that, like, we are all learning, we're all sexist, and I said this in my last video as well, you know, like, we're all on a journey, and as long as we become conscious of the things that we do, that's all that matters. And I think that, you know, there's this saying that, like, you know, it's not your instinctive thought that defines you, it's your actions that define you. So, like, your instinctive thought might be to say, look at the man in an interview, then look at the woman. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. If you become conscious of it, and you try and correct that, and you look at both, that's what makes you a good person. But if you become conscious of it, and you continue to stare at the man, that's where the problem comes in. So it's not about our thoughts, guys, it's about our actions. So I'll leave you with that lovely thought. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy the festive season, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!